So we have a really serious issue that we have to talk about, and that is ICE and warrants. I want to show you guys what's going on. And essentially, this is from the Associated Press. It says breaking ICE officers or immigration officers are asserting sweeping power to enter homes without, that's the key, without a judge's warrant. They just want to come into your home. And this comes at a time when people are protesting in their neighborhoods because ICE is in their neighborhoods, arresting their neighbors. Now they're throwing tear gas on your neighbors. And many people in Minnesota now carry a whistle with them at all times and are trying to protect their neighbors here. Because sometimes people say, Chris, why aren't Americans standing up? But well, there are. I mean, you can see right here. So I don't want to ever give the impression that people aren't standing up. They are. They're out there in the streets trying to protect their neighbors. And this is just a terrible situation all around. This is also going on. I want to put this in context. Trump, I guess they had their people remove slavery exhibits now. It says, Park Service removes slavery exhibit at Independence Park in Philadelphia. And so basically the Trump people, they want to erase history. This is from Philadelphia here. It says the National Park Service has started dismantling exhibits about slavery at the President's House in Independence National Historical Park. I used to live in Philly, so I know where these places are, and I care about this stuff because I think learning from history is important, even if you don't like the history. I mean, it's history. That's why you learn to learn from the past and move forward, but the Trump people always want to move backwards. And other part of history is you want to keep record on all this stuff, right? Remember the Trump people, they want to run around with masks, no names, and again, enter your home without a warrant. Now, J.D. Vance is going to come out and try to defend this stuff, and I want to go over some critique, and then we'll listen to Vance so you can understand the context that this is in. So this is from Rob Dorr. He says, Yale law grad J.D. Vance gets just about everything wrong here. Now, always make it clear, Vance is not stupid. He's a liar. He's, on the wrong side of history on this one. I don't like Vance, but he's not dumb. Okay, so he purposely probably knows what's going on here. So one, this is a critique of Vance. One, immigration judges are not ALJs. Two, they don't issue warrants. Three, ICE, quote, administrative warrants are signed by ICE officers, not judges. And four, they do not authorize home entry. Only a judicial warrant does. Okay, so let's see what Vance has to say then regarding this stuff.
Reported today that an ICE memo allows agents to enter people's houses without a judge's warrant. What do you say to people who are concerned about this violating the Constitution, and how much is this tactic being used?
Yeah, so I saw that story, and the story is like so much that I read in the mainstream media. It's missing a whole lot of context, and when you appreciate the context, it makes sense. No one is saying, look, there are exceptions. For example, a crazy exception, if somebody is fired at from inside a house, they don't need a warrant to go inside that person's house. There are very narrow exceptions to the warrant requirement where law enforcement officers don't need a warrant if, for example, they're an imminent threat of their lives.
Okay, so I want to stop there. So there's a couple things going on here. One is Vance is not denying the story, right? He's not saying anything this doesn't exist. He's not denying the story, right? So he's just trying to defend it. First is he's talking about, okay, we're talking about, different things. We're talking about different warrants. And we're also saying, well, if officers are getting fired upon or their life in danger, then they can just ignore, said rules. This is something that the ICE people do quite a bit. Oh, my life's in danger. They use their car as a weapon. Oh, my life's in danger. They use the broomstick as a weapon. Oh, my life's in danger. They use the snow shovel as a weapon, right? This is the kind of stuff that they say, and they're probably told or advised by these kind of Trumpy people to put that in there because they're trying to essentially break the law and get away with it. That's what they're trying to do here. And so then Vance is trying to justify their actions here. Listen more what Vance has to say.
But what we've said and what ICE has proposed, what the Department of Homeland Security really has proposed in the Department of Justice, is that we can get administrative warrants to enforce administrative immigration law. Now, it's possible, I guess, that the courts will say no, and of course, if the courts say no, we would follow that law, but nobody is talking about doing immigration enforcement without a warrant. We're talking about
he's talking about different types of warrants, and he'll say it here, right? So the distinction is going to be warrant from a judge or warrant from these administrative things, as he calls it, or administrative warrant, different type of thing. And this is why I mentioned the first guy is like, no, it's not the same. It doesn't give you the right to enter someone's home. Listen to more what he has to say here.
Nobody is talking about doing immigration enforcement without a warrant. We're talking about different types of warrants that exist in our system. Typically what happens, not always, but typically in the immigration system, those are handled by administrative law judges. So we're talking about getting warrants from those administrative law judges. And then, of course, with other cases, you get judges or you get warrants from a judge. That's very consistent with the practice of American law. I'm sure the courts will weigh in on that, but we're never going to enter somebody's house without some kind of a warrant, unless, of course, somebody's firing on an officer or they have to do something in order to protect themselves.
So he's playing word games with this stuff, and that's why this critique becomes really important to understand. One, immigration judges are not ALJs. They don't issue warrants. ICE administrative warrants are signed by ICE officers, not judges. They do not authorize home entry. Only a judicial warrant does. Let's listen to some more what someone has to say here. This is from Justin. He says, J.D. Vance isn't this stupid. So what's he doing here is deliberate and evil. You don't need, quote, some kind of warrant to enter a home. You need a warrant from the judiciary. He knows this, talking about judges here, right? He knows this. He knows they're breaking the law when they enter a home with an administrative warrant, right? So two different types of warrants here. He uses the phrase, quote, administrative law judges to mislead, right? An administrative warrant comes from DHS, that's the Department of Homeland Security. They are writing their own, quote, warrants, which makes them no more valid under the Fourth Amendment than if a random person wrote on a piece of paper, quote, I can enter your house. And it becomes really important to break this stuff down because when you're talking about the laws and you know, constitutions, kind of things, you want to get the language exact. That's why I'm showing you guys different points of view on this stuff. And you can see how they say it. So this is Tricia McLaughlin, one of the DHS people. She's always on Fox News and such. She says they have an administrative warrant, right? So remember, she doesn't say judicial warrant. They have administrative warrant. Administrative warrants have been used for decades and recognized by the Supreme Court and lower courts. In every case that DHS uses an administrative warrant to enter a residence, an illegal alien has already had their full due process and a final order or removal by administrative judge. The officer also has probable cause. And you get in all sorts of stuff with the probable cause stuff. Oh, you look the wrong way or you have the wrong accent. Oh, therefore we go after you. I mean, like... I'm just showing you their words here because I want to, you know, give a couple different sides of this. This is coming from Aaron, and he's, I believe, immigration lawyer over at a think tank, so he knows this stuff very, very well. He says, holy crap, an ICE whistleblower, and we showed this in the last video. There's a whistleblower memo out there, and this is parts of it here. The whistleblower just revealed a secret memo authorizing ICE agents to break into homes without a judicial warrant, which DHS own legal training materials say is unconstitutional. ICE then hid the memo from the public, passing along by word of mouth. And then I guess he's showing it here. It says, the gravamen of the disclosure, by memorandum dated May 12, 2025, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons authorized agents to forcibly enter into people's homes without a judicial warrant, consent, or an emergency, right? This is where the thing becomes really important to document where did this chain of command orders come down and such. Here's more from Aaron. I secretly told its officers that at any time someone has been ordered removed, ICE can break down their door. Okay, I'll read it again. I secretly told its officers that that any time someone has been ordered removed, ICE can break down their door. It has been accepted for generations that the only thing which can authorize agents to break into your home is a warrant signed by a judge. No wonder ICE hid this memo, right? You get the idea. Like this is sort of the clear evidence trail and why it's important that the whistleblowers come out and say, hey, we got evidence of where these laws come from, because you want to show from the top all the way down the chain of command who's giving these illegal orders. Chillingly, the whistleblower says the ICE trainers, okay, were directed, right, no paper trail question mark, to train all ICE new recruits that these administrative warrants authorize breaking into people's homes, even though DH's own training materials still make it clear that's illegal. Okay, so this is point 12 here. It says, upon information and belief and consistent with May 12th memo, instructors for new ICE recruits are directed to teach the Form I-205 allows ICE agents to arrest aliens in their home without consent to enter the residence and without judicial warrant. Okay, then it goes down to the bottom here. A warrant, removal, deportation does not alone authorize a Fourth Amendment search of any kind. Our clients understand that this instruction contradicts DH's own written materials currently used to train ICE cadets. according to basic immigration enforcement training program. Materials used to train ICE. Okay. Yeah. And it goes on to say, like, your hope this is clear. I'm just putting it on the screen. You can see it for yourself. But the distinction is, okay, what authority do they have or do they not have? What is legal and what not legal? Aaron also adds, the memo cites no legal authority, only a further secret DHS general counsel replaced early on by Trump loyalists. And this is something that the Trump people have done, all along, is push out people who want to follow the law, the Constitution, and replace them with lackeys and really incompetent people, right? So the memo cites no legal authority, only further secret DHS general counsel. Opinion saying administrative warrants filled out by ICE officer authorized breaking into homes of people order removed. Here's such a warrant looks like, and then this is just all evidence. It's important to understand this stuff. Also, Aaron says, this is the Trump administration trashing the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution in pursuit of its mass deportation agenda. Worse, a footnote to this memo suggests they won't even rule out authorizing home invasions with no judicial warrant for people not even ordered removed. Okay, in short, the secret memo explains so much of what we've been seeing over the last months, including this raid on a home in Minneapolis where ICE officers presented no judicial warrant before breaking in the door. Turns out they were secretly told they don't need one. And this is sort of, again, there's going to be a lot of people out there, like, I was just following orders, they told me to do it, etc. But, it looks like that we have whistleblowers, we have documents, and we'll trace it all down the chain of command on who's involved with this illegal stuff. And you see even Vance trying to play word games about, different types of warrants, and they're going to always make the case, the Vance people, my life was in danger, therefore I had to enter the home or whatever. And this also becomes important in a different era where we are right now, where everyone has a camera, right? Everyone has a camera on your phone these days. And so this is sort of why then you see neighbors out in the streets recording everything with whistles, and because the ICE can't possibly, take everyone's camera away. I mean, it's important to document what's happening and remember history. And that's why I also mentioned too, the Trump people want to destroy history with this kind of stuff. So please stay safe out there. And I just want to tell you that you're not alone, and other people can see what's going on too.